9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. T-minus 5 minutes. minus 3 minutes. T minus 2 minutes. T minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
I'm going to tell you right now, this show is going to be fantastic. To quote the ageless John Frenzy, it's just going to be fantastic. Got some of our old buddies with us on this Thursday episode of the RP Show, coming at you on the Game Plus Television Network. It's episode number 1617. We're across Canada and 32 U.S. states. Jason Gregor of Sports 1440 Edmonton will be joining us, coming off the heels of an Oilers win last night and another Oilers game tonight. But it is Grey Cup, everybody. It is the Canadian hour of the program. And who else would we bring in but a great Canadian in Mike Abou-Mechrek, a 10-year CFL or a Grey Cup champion. Hey, Abou, I only bring you in for the big shows. You should be very honored that we have you on the Thursday of the Grey Cup. I'm assuming that you are.
And my prize is just to see your glowing, smiling face, Roddy. I've missed you, buddy.
I missed you too. We've got so much to get to, so let's, with the pleasantries out of the way. And everybody, just so you know, Abou grew up in downtown Toronto. He had to go to Saskatchewan to win a Grey Cup, but he also played in Winnipeg and Ottawa. And along the way here, we've got NFL, NHL, NBA, MLB, all these things to talk about. But number one, the big story, listen, it has to be, is the Canadian Football League. The championship's being played Sunday in Winnipeg, Montreal versus Saskatchewan. Tonight is the awards, which include top rookie, defensive player of the year, most outstanding player award. Coach of the year will be handed out tonight. Saskatchewan's Corey Mace versus Montreal's Jason Maas. And then coincidentally or ironically, their teams will play on Sunday. I got a lot of things to get to, but Abou, you're not in Winnipeg. It must be killing you. How many times you played there? How many times have you been asked this week if you're going?
including the times I've asked myself, and yeah, I'm going. No, I'm not going. Yeah, I'm going. No, I'm not going. Bottom line is, it's a lot cheaper to go to Mexico than it is to go to Winnipeg this week. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, my people, we're desert people, and we really enjoy the sun. And yeah, it's tough to stay away. It's tough to stay away, but I've kind of made that decision.
Hey, don't worry. Don't feel bad. I'm
Oh,
exactly
I
the
do.
same way. Which, by the way, Abou lives in Calgary, and for the hockey fans, I'm going to get your take on the Flames because I saw that you were at a recent game. But listen, let's just. Here's the thing. No, we're not at Grey Cup, and next year we may go. I don't know. I mean, I'm coming back to Sask at the end of the month to do some speaking engagements. Blah blah blah. I'm not anti-Canada, obviously, but this reminds me of your old coach, Ken Miller. These shows during Grey Cup week are so easy to do for us, and they're the most viewed. And it's like Ken Miller used to say, we pay the men to practice. They play the games for free. Remember how we used to? These are the easiest shows, man. Like when we think of Grey Cup, what do you think of? Just what pops in your mind when you think of Grey Cup week? You've lost them and you've won them.
Oh yeah, I forgot about losing that one. What do I think? I think about winning.
I
I
haven't.
think I think about winning.
Yeah.
I think about 2007. I think about the guys. I think about the girls. I think about the people around me. I think about West Case running that 6-0 to ice the game at the end of the 2000 Grey Cup. I remember looking at Jeremy, and the love and the look in our eyes after that play was just, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. That's what you think about. You think about the guys. You think about winning until someone reminds you of the time that you lost.
Sorry.
Um, no, that's probably what, steel is forged in heat, and that probably contributed to the rest of my career. Is, the sour taste of losing the 2001 Grey Cup to Calgary in Winnipeg, or
In
in
Montreal. I
Montreal.
was there. Don't worry. I got you covered. After you guys won 14 games in the regular season, which, by the way, is another thing. I sit here and shine my Grey Cup rings and think of my various awards and go, you know what, Abou? We're old and our time's past. But at the very least, we can look back and talk about some really good times while the young farts out there are still chasing the championships and stuff. And that's what's fun, man. It's just we can't. It's their time, and it's a
It's
really
the
fun time.
Well said. In 2009 and 2010, that's my era. And look at all this.
Right.
Or that's to tell you that era is long and gone. That's 15, 16, 17 years ago. This game has nothing to do with 13 men, nothing to do with Anthony Calvillo, nothing to do with Coach Miller, God rest his soul, nothing to do with Darian Durant or Mike Abou-Mechrek or Wes Cates. That game is over. That era is over. The kids watching the game today weren't even born then. It has absolutely nothing to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. Nothing to do with Saskatchewan only winning 4 Grey Cups. And there's a funny story. When I came to Saskatchewan, I walked through 2007. It was a spring. I came there with my wife and at the time, and we walked through the halls. And I said to Ken Austin, I'm like, "What's with these walls? How come there's only 66 and 89?" And he's like, "Those are the Grey Cups we won." I'm like, "Where are all the other ones?" He's like, "That's it. But we're gonna win another one this year." And goosebumps. I'm like, "All right, let's go, coach. Let's do it. Let's do it." It has nothing to do with that. There's no jinxes. There's no Glenn Suter. There's no nothing. There's no Ridgeway. This is about these boys: Trevor Harris, Logan Furland, these boys, and they're here. They don't give a rat's patootie about Darian Durant or Anthony Calvillo.
Yeah.
So let's go. Let's go,
Go-
boys.
Goosebumps are a sign from God, you know. We'll debate later. By the way, Cardinal Ryan writes in from Saratoga, New York. He says, I was at the Grey Cup in 2001. Yeah, well, we all were. But as Abou just said, that doesn't matter now. He was a warrior. Dave Ritchie. B. Henderson writes in. He's watching in Winnipeg. He says, I got a hot take. Mike O'Shea is the next head coach and GM of the Argos. Done deal, but will not be announced till Monday. Okay, well, hang on. Like I said,
Yeah.
these are the easiest shows of the year to do and the most viewed for us to talk about the Grey Cup. So he's got stories. I got stories. We're going to tell stories. It's what we're going to do today. And then we're going to talk about a few other things because Abou is a huge NFL fantasy nerd. Week 11 kicking off tonight. And I know our U.S. viewers tuning in, they're all horny about the Patriots going into New York tonight. It's not even going to be a game. The Patriots have won 16 of the last 18 against the New York Jets, as has pretty much everybody. But anyways, we'll talk about those games with Abou. So I will tell you the Western Dodge text line is open, 902-518-3033. Get your thoughts that we're going to talk about the rule changes, Abou. We got to, you can't have light without the dark. You can't have good without the evil.
They are of the same measure, Rob. They're of the same measure.
See what we're learning today? See what we're learning? We'll be right back, everybody. We're coming to you live on the Game Plus Television Network, YouTube Live, podcast, and, of course, 1700 AM Mission Radio.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Make yourselves comfortable, everybody. It's the Canadian hour of the RP show. Next hour, we're going to U.S. topics as we stay on Game Plus, but also across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network, which, by the way, we were discovered last night by Ray Elgard. He texted me, Abu, and goes, a photo of his television. He goes, "What the hell are you doing in my living room?" Ray Elgard. It's a topic for another time. But before we get to the dark topics of the CFL, I opened the show.
Me of a time past.
Say that again.
That reminds me of a day long ago when I woke up in the morning. I'm like, Rod, what are you doing in my living room?
That actually happened. That was legit.
That was maybe legit. Not a story for this venue, though.
Yeah, exactly. Were we in another country?
Another
anyways,
world.
Yes, absolutely. The poll question today for EMJ Marketing Elite Speakers Bureau is who will win the Most Outstanding Player Award tonight in the Canadian Football League? It's Nathan Rourke of the BC Lions versus Bo Levi Mitchell of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. I'm going to vote Bo because I love him. 90% of respondents are voting for Nathan Rourke from the BC Lions, though. Who's going to win it tonight?
Well, that's because they're right and you're wrong. If Bo gets it, it's because of his body of work. I don't think it's just for this season. If there was a comeback player of the year, he wins it hands down. But Nathan Rourke is the guy. Nathan Rourke is the guy for the next 10, 15 years. So let's start hanging the flowers on him. Let's start giving him, and let's start pumping him up. Because the CFL doesn't need rule changes. It doesn't need American investors. It needs some freaking marketing. Market their players. Marketing. It's a great game. It's a better game than the NFL. But we don't have dancing robots and cheerleaders and 87 cameras and hey Rod, you know when the NFL games are this week?
Of course.
I don't know what games there are, but they're on Sunday.
And
do you know when the CFL games are? Maybe Friday, Saturday, maybe. I don't know.
Well, listen, Abu's dropping the hot takes. He says Nathan Rourke will win tonight, as do 90% of respondents. But hey, listen, were you reading my diary? Huh?
Usually.
Because
when I creep into your room at night, that's the first thing I do, other than give you a little kiss on the forehead.
Right. Well, here's what else I have. After that preamble about the Grey Cup and the game Sunday and the awards time. Meanwhile, media members are invited to attend CFL Commissioner Stuart Johnston's inaugural State of the League media address as part of the 112th Grey Cup week. He was appointed commissioner in April. Commissioner Johnston will discuss the state of the league before taking questions from media members in attendance. So let me say, you just said the league doesn't need any changes. I had a guy whom I respect a lot, a football guy, blowing up my phone today saying it's your job to ask him these questions. I said, how about you back off and not tell me what my job is? Because it's not my job to nail Stuart Johnston to the wall. And nobody will on that State of the League on Friday, by the way. But I can't believe the personal affront that people are taking with regards to these changes to the Canadian Football League. But I haven't talked to you about it, and you played in the league for 10 years. So what are your thoughts?
Listen, I'm feisty, and I'll disagree with you when I disagree with you. But I understand the CFL needs changes, and I don't know what changes. You don't know what changes. But I like that this guy's trying to do something. You know, you don't have to agree with it, but he's trying to do something, and you know, very few people before him tried to make any splash. You know, very Canadian way, status quo. Let's not upset the cart. Well, he kicked the cart over and shot the mule. You know, the rules I get it, but the one that I don't like. Okay, what I don't get is getting rid of the 55-yard line. Okay, move the post to the back of the end zone. That's easy. Drill a hole and move the post. You know, make the end zone shorter. I get it. Just put a Rod Pedersen show banner over the back of the end zone, and there you go. But getting rid of the 55-yard line, not only is it like our heritage, our 55-yard line, and I want to get back to our balls are bigger thing in a minute. But the 55-yard line is what puts the Canadiana in Canada. But also getting all the other things can be changed easily with a couple, maybe $10,000, $20,000 change. Changing the 55-yard line means all new turf for everybody. $500,000, $1 million renovations to every building in the CFL. And if we're complaining about revenues, if we're complaining about money, put in $1 million into a new field that you don't really need just doesn't make sense to me from a business standpoint, from a Canadiana standpoint, and it just doesn't make sense as far as you want to fit into the NFL, you want to start maybe cross border stuff. I get it, but having an extra 10 yards isn't a big deal. It's more the width of the field that's more of a concern for the 11-man game. I have no idea where this 55-yard line, getting rid of it, comes in. It makes no sense, and it's stupid, and it just makes no sense, and it's something that's easily fixable. That's probably, if you're trying to set up a game with NCAA or you're trying to set up with the American game, that's the least of their worries, is an extra 10 yards. Especially with the damage it can do financially to teams that don't have a whole
hey, let me stop you for a sec. JJ writes in, he says, "Thank you, Mike. Please speak out publicly after the Grey Cup game. Media in Canada are under the thumb of TSN." No, that's not true. We're under the thumb of the CFL. We're under the thumb of the teams and the leagues. That's a fact. So there's that. But I'm a little confused. And the floor, I'm always confused, of course. You know that. And the floor is yours. I don't mind you saying this. But Angus Reid comes out with a poll yesterday that says the profile of the CFL, the popularity has never been lower since they've been doing polls. 16% of Canadians say they follow the CFL. So as people have said, they got to do something. And you just said it. It needs changes. So here's him trying to change. Randy Ambrosie tried to bring in the global players. He tried to make changes. I don't think that nothing is not fixable, I don't think. But you said they need changes. So what would you change then?
Well, if I had the answer, I'd have another job. I told you, marketing. Instead of putting $1 million into your field, put $1 million into the marketing. And make contracts more than 1 year. What I mean by marketing is market the players. Get people involved in the players, get them tied in, get them watching the players.
But the players wanted 1-year contracts. That was a concession they made 2 CBAs ago. That's what the players wanted.
What the hell does the players have to do with the league? They're two different things. The CFL Players Association wants $1 million for every player. And they'll fight for that. If they can get it, they'd get it. But that's not what's good for the league. Good for the league isn't having, rent the players. Isn't having 1-year players. You can't buy a jersey. When I watch any game, I went to the Chicago Blackhawks game the other day to watch who? Connor Bedard. My kid grew up with him. I grew up with him, and I watched hockey. You know me, I'm not a hockey fan. I'm a Leafs fan. But I went to this game and I watched Connor Bedard. I watched one player, and I don't know how to watch hockey. I know how to watch football. And when you can watch one player and become fans of that player, you become a fan of that player. You watch the game differently. You love the game differently. I got Bedard jerseys. I freaking hate the Flames. But I went and I bought a ticket. I went to go see.
A lot of people do now.
Yeah. A player, and that's what they've got to do. They've got to invest in the players, because that is their asset. They got to put their players on the front of billboards, put them in schools. Saskatchewan does a very good job of it, but we need to do it in Toronto. We need to do it in Montreal and Vancouver. We need to do it in the Maritimes. We need to get these kids interested in Schaefer Baker, not AJ Brown.
Okay, well, hang on. In that case, the horse might be out of the barn. I don't know. It might be too late with the young kids. I don't know. But from the audience, Kevin the Medium checks in. He says, "Good morning, RP peeps from Grey Cup week in Winnipeg." B. Henderson in Winnipeg says the CFL needs to raise the salary cap. Got to spend money to make money. That is all true. But I don't want this show today to be what does the CFL need to do, because, my God, we only have 2 hours, and I'm tired of that discussion. But what I will say is this before we move on to other things, and that we should talk about the actual game. We have 10-year CFLer Mike Abou-Mechrek with us, as you can see by the jerseys over his shoulder. Grey Cup champion with Saskatchewan. Stuart Johnston canceled the address with the fans that's been going for years. The timing of that doesn't look good. It looks like he doesn't want to face the fans. Should he be walking around with not security, but maybe a glasses and a fake mask or something? Like, is he persona non grata at Grey Cup, do you think, because of this?
Well, that's what the Grey Cup is. That's what Canadian football is. It's being accessible. And that's what I was just saying about, the guys. That's what makes it Canadian. We're accessible. You're not behind a curtain. You're not surrounded by armed guards. Very approachable. Come up and talk to the players, talk to anybody. So no, you got to be out there. And with any business or anything, it's not good to hide behind the thing. If you're confident in what you're doing and you're strong in what you're doing, you should never be hiding.
Yeah.
But
well, I support the guy. I do. He's come on this show, and I support the changes. But Wayne in Victoria, BC, writes it on the Western Dodge text line. He says, that's a very good point about the 55-yard line. I agree because of the cost. I believe the field size dimensions. You must know this is so they can fit in U.S. stadiums, and they're moving to U.S. expansion. You know that, don't you, Abou?
Right. Yeah, but that's not a big deal. Hacking off 10 yards if you don't have it. But changing your whole turf is a thing.
Well, I'd like to think they made these decisions with a little bit of research going into them, but I also know after years of covering this league, they might actually not have. But let me just say this about the game. You wanted. I'm sorry, but it is what it is. 2007 Grey Cup. I don't know what you shot yourself up with to play, but I know what your tailback shot himself up with to play. Wes Cates. And I was talking to a football guy this morning who said, Davis Alexander, he goes, sorry to say, this was a guy in the States, but football's football. He goes, he'll be shot so full up and treated, he won't even feel that hamstring till maybe Monday.
You can't shoot a hamstring.
Whatever. He just says that he will be ready to go and play at 100%. So don't think that the Davis Alexander injury is a real big factor in this game. Do you agree or disagree?
It's a factor, but he's going to be there. And Ken Miller in 2007, it was one game at a time. We're going to go one, and Mace says this too. 1-0. We're going 1-0, 1-0. This week it's just like last week. It's just a game. It's just a game. And then when we got to the Grey Cup, he's like, wow. And we're all, the beginning of the meeting, we're like, yeah, we're going to go 1-0. This is the same as any ever work. And then Ken Miller or Austin stands up. He goes, no, it's not, guys. This week is different. This week is the Grey Cup.
Oh.
And I was like, ooh, yeah, all right. It is different. Because, in 2001, it was different. And I wasn't ready for it. I was 26 years old. I wasn't ready. A night in the town in Montreal. And, you try and get onto routine, but you can't get on a routine. There's no routine. You got awards dinner tonight. You have, another dinner here. You've got media here. It's different. It's very different. You have to be ready for that. You have to be ready for how different it is. So the game is the same. The game's not even the same. You got an hour and a half halftime. You've got extra long commercial breaks. There's nothing familiar about that, about the game structure. Now the gameplay is the same, but a lot of it's mental. Well, most of it's mental, anyways. And you got to get your mind right and be prepared for the ups and downs and the delays and extra dancing robots and cheerleaders and a whole bunch of stuff that's not football that just gets in the way.
You saw I just leapt out of my chair because a whole bunch of stories just flooded my mind. So we'll get to those when we come back. Plus viewer comment. Arlen Bruce is watching. You played with him, didn't you? He's got some
AB3?
comments on the game. Yeah, AB3. Yeah. We'll be back, everybody, with it's our Grey Cup episode, and tomorrow's another one. We'll be back in a moment. Mike Abou-Mechrek with us, 10-year CFL or Grey Cup champion. We'll be back right after this on Game Plus TV.
Country's hottest party is coming. James Barker Band, Bud Light Buckle Up Tour 2025. Live across Canada with special guests Ryan and Rory. Yeah, let's keep it November 20th, Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at zasktix.ca. James Barker Band Live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's our Grey Cup special episodes this week. Mike Abou-Mechrek is with us, 10-year CFLer. Those stories that flooded into my mind, I'll save till the next segment once Abou leaves us, because it's such a treasure to have him on from Calgary. And by the way, we will dispense with the junior hockey report today that we do every day. We'll call it a Grey Cup report for the Mad Greek Eatery in Moose Jaw. Have them cater your Grey Cup party on Sunday night, everybody. Rough Riders, Alouettes in Winnipeg, the Mad Greek Eatery, whether it's pizza, ribs, authentic Greek favorites, Abou knows it well. Make it the Mad Greek Eatery. They're open till 11 p.m. Order online, pick up, or dine in, madgreekeatery.com. Laverne is watching in the Frontier City, and he says, I'd love to hear Mike's take on the 112th Coupe de Grey. That's French for Grey Cup. What are the keys for victory for both teams?
Well, and you know what? Anytime you've seen like you only bring them on for the Labor Day games and these playoff games,
the big ones.
Yeah, and I don't think those games are. We got to talk about something, right? But the game always comes down to something that's not talked about. You know, a 13th man. A torn hamstring. I mean, I don't even know. I can't talk about it because I don't know what it's going to be. And it's those intangibles. It's those intangibles. It's the reason why we watch sports. It's the reason why we watch these big games. And so I don't know what's going to happen. I don't love that the Riders have 4 American offensive linemen, but you know how I feel about the offensive line. That's where the game's won and lost. And so if those big boys up front can impose their will like they have been doing, it shouldn't be much of a contest. Um, but we'll see. And can I just give Logan Ferland his flowers? He came into this team, I don't know how many, 6, 7 years ago, as
Offensive
a
lineman, everybody.
yeah. He's such a difference maker. Uh, I may have said some things in the past about him. He came from junior football, it took him a while to get in. It's just like Dan Clark, where it takes a while to get up to speed. And man, watching that guy's career, it's been really nice. It kind of made me a bit jealous not to have my career in one place where you can grow and learn and be okay. It's that kind of stuff that we were talking about the last segment that the CFL needs to do. They need to invest in their players and develop them. Because Logan Ferland, man, he's one of the best players in the league, any position. And he wasn't that. He was one of the worst players in the league at any position when he started. And it's just been so great to see him grow. And great place for Jeremy and Mace for, to develop something that's there.
Let me ask you about one big matchup here in my mind. And I'm
Sorry
spending
about that,
far more time thinking about the Grey Cup than I should. But I'm excited. I'm a fan. Mark Mueller, Sask offensive coordinator. Noel Thorpe, Montreal defensive coordinator. The OG in a lot of ways in this league versus the young up-and-comer. That's quite a matchup.
Is he still young and up-and-coming? Is he still young?
To me, he is.
To
me,
he'll always be, yeah. I don't think he is anymore. He's in there. He's one of the top offensive minds in the league and has been. But Noel Thorpe is, okay, let's go with it. He's tried and tested, He'll come up with some new things, some new wrinkles. He's watching film right now, and that's why I could never be a coach, because they work 22 hours a day, looking at a wrinkle, looking and overlooking, looking at everyone on the offense and defense's footwork, how they're doing things, what they do things. They're just looking for an edge, and that goes on. That goes both ways. That being said, championship games are usually defensive minded. No one wants to take any risks. No one wants to take any chances. That's not Mark Mueller's style. But it's going to be a defensive. It's not going to be a high scoring game. So if we're just going by those, I'll always take the defensive side in a championship game. Take the under.
I'm laughing because I remember when we had ESPN Classics in Canada. I remember I'm looking at the TV grid, 2007 Grey Cup on ESPN Classics. I'm like, why?
Classic
God, that was
well, stop it, man. That's the thing that pisses me off. 07 was the greatest Grey Cup ever. Why? Because I got one of these. Boom.
Yeah.
Greatest
The
Grey
game
Cup ever.
The ring's upside down.
I don't know why anyone in Saskatchewan's not calling it the greatest Grey Cup ever. They hadn't won in forever, and we finally won. And now they're saying that's not a great game. It was a freaking great game.
Well,
shut up.
You can make reasons why every game's great. I'm just saying. I called it. I was there. Tony in Saskatoon writes in. He says, "Good morning, Rod." On the Western Dodge text line, can Mike be on the show every week? That's a hard no, bro. No. He says, what a fabulous guest on a fabulous show. Great, informative, and entertaining perspectives from a Grey Cup champion. Very enjoyable. Go Riders. Signed Tony from Saskatoon. We
did that for 11 years.
Minutes. Yes, we did. 11 years. And I'll tell that story after you leave as to how that all came about. And we made radio magic for a very long time. But anyways, you went to the Flames game, and I love the fact you and Caleb had a great time there. You were there cheering for Chicago, or for Bedard. I feel like you weren't the only ones in the Saddledome cheering for Bedard. It was Connor Bedard 4, Calgary Flames 0 is what happened that night.
Yep. 3 assists and a goal. Yeah. And it was great just to watch him play, for me, it was great because, my kids grew up in Regina. I grew up in Regina too, as an adult. And then for whatever reason we'll get into, my kids were moved to Calgary and BC. And so it was just really fun night to go to Leopold's. Leopold's is a Regina established, started in Regina. My kid and I went there. There's so many nights, a dozen nights at least, that my kid and I went to Leopold's for a burger and a beer. He didn't have the beer. And then we went across to, we went down the road to watch the Pats play. So it was just a magical night. I'm only spending about, half my time in Regina or in Saskatchewan these days. So it was nice to bring a piece of home to the big city here. And there was a lot of people wearing Pats jerseys, a lot of people wearing Pats jerseys. Love it, man. It was nice. And my boy's 16 and I'm going to be an empty nester soon. So it was kind of really, it was more than a sporting event for me.
Well, you've said they don't talk about the Stampeders in Calgary at all. And I know that, which is unfortunate, but I think people wish they wouldn't be talking about the Flames right now. What's it like? What is it like?
It's a big city, so I mean, if they're not winning, they're not talking about them. I didn't even know that you wouldn't even know that they're around. They're just invisible. There's way more Blue Jay hats and jerseys going around the city the last couple of weeks than the Flames. But it's
quite amazing you say that. You've lived there now long enough, and I've lived there. It's a awesome baseball town and Blue Jays town, and a big part of the reason, I think, is because the games are on the radio there on Fan 960, formerly CFAC, Jimmy Hughes. So, yeah, I'm happy to hear, actually, that they're not talking about the Flames, better than bitching about them 24/7. Okay, we only got a little over a minute. Your Grey Cup Sunday plans, what you going to do?
I don't have any plans left. I'm kind of was keeping them open, keeping my option open. I think later today I'm going to send an email out to some of the ex guys and I maybe invite them over for some wings. You know me, I like hosting. I really haven't been doing it in the last 2 years since I've been here. But I'm going to get back to it. Invite give Alex Gauthier a call, Paul Blancorn, see if we can get some of the boys back together and have a taste of this Canadiana. And because that's what it is. The first question you asked me, what do I remember about the Grey Cup? I remember the guys. I remember the girls. I remember the people. And that's what this should do. It should bring people together and kick off the Christmas season with the Grey Cup.
Right. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's going to be so much fun. Well, hey, if you're looking for something to do, you can come down to Florida. We're going to have a party. We're having a party, Mike. And you're invited of CFL fans. And I should tell you that we found your phone and wallet on the beach. So I found it. So if you want to come get it, we have it. And
wrong finger. Sorry.
Yes, what a time that was.
Changed my life.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Abou. Great job. Enjoy the game. Wonderful time. A fast 40 minutes. Appreciate you.
Go Riders.
We'll be right back here on Game Plus TV.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Welcome back, everybody. Does your message stand out? At Outlaw Communications, we make sure it does. Tony Plater, a Grey Cup champion with those 07 Rough Riders, brings 35 years of communication and leadership expertise, from media training and leadership coaching to strategic crisis planning and compelling content. He'll help you lead with confidence. Outlaw Communications, where creativity isn't a hobby, it's a way of life. We'll get back to the football talk in a second. I sure hope you're enjoying our Grey Cup specials, as we've been done all year. As the week goes along, we talk more CFL, but this is the biggest week of the year in the Canadian Football League, and as you can see, Abou and I are big CFL people. It's been a lot of fun, and these stories just popped into my mind. I'll get to them in a second, but a sports update. There are other things going on. Sports update brought to you by Ultimate Fan Zone and Moose Jaw, your home for jerseys, collectibles, and all the gear you need. Visit them today or online at ultimatefanzone.ca. Today, the Ottawa Senators have signed forward Shane Pinto to a 4-year contract extension. The deal carries an average annual value of $7.5 million. Entering play today, the 25-year-old Pinto has 8 goals and 6 assists in 17 games this season, his 6th with the Senators. Russell Wilson is again contemplating an uncertain football future after losing out on the New York Giants starting quarterback job again. Wilson is set to be the backup this weekend after interim coach Mike Kafka instead chose Jameis Winston to be the starter with rookie Jackson Dart in concussion protocol. Wilson turns 37 on November 29th and does not have an NFL contract beyond this season. He said he has not asked for his release and wants to see things through with the Giants. There is your sports update, proudly presented by Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store. Get your game day gear in store or online at ultimatefanzone.ca. So I'll say it for the umpteenth millionth time. No, we're obviously not at Grey Cup, and that's okay. If you missed the start of it, I said to Abou, how many times have you been asked, are you going to Grey Cup? He's like, including times I've asked myself. Yeah, it's fun. And he and I have had a lot of fun together on the air and off. Wayne in Victoria, BC writes in, he says, yes, Rod, I remember those radio days listening to you and Abou talking CFL football back in the day. Go Riders. I'll tell you a little story about that. I was already hosting that little radio show on that little station, and I had my Rider guys already lined up. I had Luke Mullender on the show. I had Scott Schultz on the show. I had some other guys. And Abou was on the other station who they like to call ourselves our competition, but they weren't our competition. You have to see the ratings. So anyways, Abou was on, I think he did one show on that station. And he called me up after. He goes, can I come over and be on your team? And I said, why? We're kind of full over here. He goes, they hate you. They hate you over there. They want you dead. I didn't feel right being on that station with them. I said, okay, come on over. 11 years later. It used to bother me. Well, what would you hate me for? I didn't do anything to you. They hate us because they ain't us. That's what I learned. And these Grey Cup stories, because, I mean, I'll read this from Randy. He's a great guy. He writes in from the Queen City. He says, back to marketing for a moment. This CFL, what they need to do, the most worn-out conversation in Canadian sports. But Randy says, back to marketing for a moment. You guys nailed it. Riders that had their start with the Rams, Thunder, Hilltops, and Huskies have traditionally been fan favorites. They should be on billboards, cereal boxes. Remember Fantus Flakes, Darios? My grandson plays RMF, and his favorite players on the Riders are Furlan and Picton. Yeah, but that's not my job. Marketing the CFL is not my job. Can people get it through their heads, please? So back to the fun stuff of Grey Cup memories gone by. Abou said earlier how it's no different, frankly, for the broadcasters than the players. Let's think why we got along so well. Because at the end of the day, they got to perform on the field. I got to perform on the air in front of you. Okay? And there's pressure involved in both. And so, number one, he mentioned the halftime and how the games are different. All these stories are going to roll into more. And there's so much fun. I can't sit and tell them all year, but I'll tell them during Grey Cup week. Skydome, 2007, Saskatchewan versus Winnipeg. Halftimes are habitually 16 minutes. Special occasions like Labor Day games, playoff games, they're 18. But that's the length. I'd never been in a Grey Cup before. None of us had in 2007. I'm sitting there interviewing our premier, Brad Wall, at Skydome, in the Blue Jays home radio booth, by the way, in the end zone. Try calling a football game from the end zone. It ain't easy, but I was just happy to be in the building. Anyways, the halftime's going on and on and on. And Lenny Kravitz is singing on the stage. I'm like, what the hell? We're going 20 minutes, 22 minutes, 24. What the hell? I took my headphones. I'm like, how long is this halftime? They're like 27 minutes. Didn't anybody tell you? No, nobody told me. So I'm sitting there with a premier. Well, Brad, you're obviously a Rider fan. Who was your NFL team growing up? The Oakland Raiders. Blah, 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 blah. That was what the interview denigrated to. And then those 90-second timeouts end up being 2.5-minute timeouts. So as you, as a play caller and a player on the field, as you're getting into a groove or whatever, it's good and bad. But the game is totally different. As he said, it's not the same. And also, Ken Austin, everybody loves telling Kent stories, and he was only with us as a coach for 1 year. But now, last I checked, he's the offensive coordinator for Auburn as of today, if you know how things are going there. But anyways, I'm interviewing Kent, first game of the week one. It's his first season as head coach of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, the team for which he led to the 1989 Grey Cup championship as a player. But now he's back coaching the Riders in 2007, week one. We're in Montreal, and I said, well, Kent, here we are in Montreal. It's your first game as head coach of your former team. That's very rare for coaches and players to do that. Is this a very special moment for you? He goes, no, it's not about me. It's about this football team and those 42 men going up against Montreal today and us putting together the best game plan to win. Blah, blah, blah. We won 13-9. Labor Day Classic, Riders, Bombers. Well, Kent, here we are. Labor Day Classic, biggest game of the year. Habitually the only sellout of the year. Every game has been sold out this year, but is it special for you? A guy that's played in so many of these Labor Day Classics? No, Rod. Just another game. There's 18 of these. We have to play 18. If we put any emphasis on one ahead of the other, that's a disservice to the other games. Okay. Then we're hosting the Western semifinal. Henry Burris and the Calgary Stampeders come to town. I'm interviewing Kent for the pregame show. Hey, Kent, well, here we are. This is the first home playoff game for Saskatchewan in 19 years, and you did it. You're on the way to being coach of the year, a 12-6 record, and very special to be playing at home. Is it special for you, Kent? Rod, it's just another game. We can't approach this any different than any other games. We can't make the moment too big for these players. Blah, blah, blah. Morning of the Grey Cup, the 89th Grey Cup at Skydome 2007, the Saskatchewan Roughriders against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I'm in the bowels of the Westin Harbor Castle Hotel in Toronto, leaning against the wall with Ken Austin. Well, Ken, here we are. Skydome, Saskatchewan Roughriders. You've led your team to the Grey Cup for the first time since 1997 for Canada's team. But let me guess, this is just another game. He's like, oh, no, Rod, it's the Grey Cup. Of course it's a different game. Oh, my God. Here's Kent for you, always keeping you on your toes. And, of course, the Rough Riders went out that day and won 23-19 over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and Ryan Dinwiddie. And what a great – the last Grey Cup ever broadcast on the CBC. If you want to sit here and talk about why the CFL's popularity is at an all-time low, and don't blame me, there's data now thanks to the Angus Reid poll. Biggest reason is them jumping into bed with TSN solely and ignoring all the other networks, but that's a story for another time. JJ writes in, he says, I second the motion. Would love to have Abou on your show regularly. Great show today, Rod and team. Thank you, JJ. Well, I never even did get to the NFL, and I would have liked to with Abou, but these are special shows. Grey Cup week. Did 40 minutes of it. John in Edmonton writes in and says, I hate that the CFL awards are on CFL Plus and not TSN. That's bad marketing right there. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. Carlos in Indianapolis writes in, he says, just like the Super Bowl isn't just another game, despite all attempts to make it so. That's the thing with Ken Austin. By the way, I did write a book on that season, 2007. It was a bestseller, not a big deal. But listening to Kent speak was a self-help book every single day. Just the way that he looked at things. One of the biggest things I never forgot is him saying, don't be afraid to admit a mistake. Because I locked my keys in my car twice today. I'm an idiot. But I'll make sure I won't do it again. Don't be afraid to admit your mistakes. Just don't make them again. One of a million things that Kent passed along. Eric says, Ken Austin, one game at a time. I'm sorry. I'm just going back. Hey, Arlen Bruce wrote in. He says, great day, RP, and 67. That's a boo. I'm looking forward to the game Sunday and the halftime show by Machine Gun Kelly. When I played for the Argos, I did a Popeyes, Subway, BF Goodrich, and Mr. Lube commercial. Well, there you go. Times have changed for sure in the marketing of the Canadian Football League. By the way, we're coming up on hour 2. We'll still be with you here on Game Plus Television, but also going across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. Max in Toronto writes in, he says, I agree on marketing the players. We've been lucky to have guys like Zach Caleros and Trevor Harris around for years and somehow haven't made them household names for Canadian sports fans. Eric in Vancouver says, disappointed with the commissioner's no-show. Not a good look. Again, I'm not on the inside of those meetings where they decided to cancel the fan address with the commissioner. I can't think Stuart Johnston is afraid to face the fans. I really have a tough time believing that. But the timing isn't good. People are going to make whatever inferences they want. That's the CFL's deal, not mine. Coming up next hour, Jason Gregor will be with us from Sports 1440 Edmonton Radio. The Oilers won last night. They're playing again tonight. Yeah. NFL Week 11 kicking off. Lots to get to. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection.
Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Howdy now. Welcome to the RP Show, everybody, on a Thursday. It is episode number 1617. We're coming to you across Canada and 32 U.S. states on the Game Plus television network, and across the wonderful state of Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network, and I'm your affable host, RP. Coming up this hour, the interview guest is Jason Gregor of Sports 1440 Edmonton. And I was just thinking about this the other day. Kornheiser and Wilbon wave the Canadian flag, especially Kornheiser, on Pardon the Interruption. They're an American show airing in Canada on TSN. We're a show airing all over hell, but coming to you from Florida, airing across Nevada here, and hi to our Canadian friends, where in hour one, we talked a lot of CFL topics in the Grey Cup, but we move on today here on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network with some things that are going to excite you, I think. I really do. But I was pretty excited. I will say this before I go any further. I got a text last night from my very good friend, Las Vegas resident, Hall of Fame tight end Ray Elgard, number 81. It was a photo of his television with the RP Show logo on his TV screen. He had it, and the text says, "What the hell are you doing in my living room?" And I said, "I told you that we're going to television in Las Vegas daily." I guess he had to see it first. So, hi, Ray. We're going to try and get him on the air here, but he needs to get over his fear of shyness. He needs to get over his shyness. That's the one thing Ray Elgard has to do. But he's in Vegas. At one time, a Golden Knights season ticket holder. I'm not sure whether he still is or not. But anyways, we'll be getting him on the air soon. But yeah, if you are watching us on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network, you can text me 902-518-3033. Let us know, and we'll embarrass you publicly. Okay, the quick six show topics. We're starting with hockey and the Edmonton Oilers. Part of the reason for that is Jason Gregor joining us next from Sports 1440 Edmonton to talk NHL, Oilers, some NFL, and the Grey Cup, because it is the biggest week of the year in the Canadian Football League. But Jack Roslovic scored a little over a minute into overtime on Wednesday night, and the Edmonton Oilers beat the Philadelphia Flyers 2-1. And no rest for the Oil. They're on the road tonight at the Columbus Blue Jackets. What a quick turnaround. Those teams just met earlier in the week, and the Oilers beat them in overtime in Edmonton. We'll talk about that game and games, and if it's maybe exhausting covering the Edmonton Oilers on a daily basis, because I'm exhausted following it. Jason Gregor does it. We'll see. Defenseman Simon Nemec scored his third goal of the game in overtime to lift the New Jersey Devils to a 4-3 victory over the Chicago Blackhawks on Wednesday night. Did you watch it on the NHL on TNT? I did. Chicago's Connor Bedard scored for the fourth straight game and extended his point streak to a career-high 9 games. He and Macklin Celebrini of the San Jose Sharks are tied for second in the NHL scoring lead, and it's now those ads are airing. So have you seen them? The golden era is now. I think that's the phrase. The key phrasing is golden era, but I think it's the golden era is now in the National Hockey League, and it is. Yet, the old guys want to be heard from too. It's a busy night tonight in the National Hockey League with 10 games, including Alex Ovechkin and the Washington Capitals here tonight in Sunrise, Florida, taking on the Panthers, and I'll be at the game, and I'm so grateful to be there. Alex Ovechkin isn't going to hit 1,000 goals tonight. He just passed 900, but Brad Marchand of the Panthers could hit 1,000 points. He's 2 points shy, and he carries a 5-game goal-scoring streak into the match here tonight. So Ovi's 40. Marchand's 37. What's Sidney Crosby? 38. So they are. We did this show yesterday. I do host the Florida Panthers Tampa Bay Lightning podcast. It's Florida's most watched hockey podcast. We had fans of both the Panthers and Lightning writing in, and they all agreed that this is the best era of hockey ever. I'm not quite sure I would go down that road and say that, because there have been some pretty good eras. But it's pretty good right now. And on that program yesterday, I should mention the Golden Knights are home tonight to the New York Islanders. For the Islanders fans, shout out Joe Lazito, who was just with us the other day. Among the 10 games tonight, Islanders at Vegas. But Bill Lindsay was on the program with me yesterday. Billy's veteran. I don't think he hit 1,000 NHL games, but damn close. A lot more than me. And I brought up this golden era of the NHL thing. I'm like, do you buy it? And he's like, well, yeah. But it's the old guys, the young guys, and the middle guys. We got Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews. These guys have been around for a while, and they're doing great things too. So, you know what? They might be the best era in NHL. But the problem with Florida here is that the fans think that the NHL, there was no NHL before 92, 93, when the Lightning and Panthers came around. I'm like, whoa. It's like kids that think there was no world before they were born. You know what I mean? I don't quite know Vegas yet here in season 9 if they felt there was no NHL before the Golden Knights showed up, but there was. Oh, and by the way, another note before we move on from that. The top 5 scorers in the NHL right now are all former number 1 or number 2 overall picks. How about that? I got this today from my daily newsletter from yahoo.com. That's a scouting department dream that almost never materializes like this. So Nathan McKinnon, top scorer, leading the way, 32 points, number 1 overall in 2013, followed by Macklin Celebrini, number 1 in 2024. Connor Bedard in 2023 was number 1 overall. Leo Carlson, 3rd in scoring. Oh, he's tied with them. They all have 26 points. Leo Carlson went number 2 overall in 2023 with Anaheim, right? And then Connor McDavid, back in 2015, is right behind them with 25 points. So, I mean, that's not really the poll question today, which I got to hurry up and get through this. So I will tell you what is our poll question today. I had a Jason Gregor joining us from Sports 1440 Edmonton. We do daily on the Game Plus television network, the Junior Hockey Report. It's a Canadian thing, but we're dispensing with that because it is Grey Cup week in Canada, the CFL Championship, and we're saying, hey, stock up your Grey Cup party with Mad Greek Eats. Mad Greek is your place to experience authentic Greek flavors at the Mad Greek Eatery, open until 11 p.m. Order online, pick up, or peruse their menu at themadgreekeatery.com. If you're throwing a Grey Cup party, kickoff is at 6 Eastern on Sunday, Montreal versus Saskatchewan. Johnny Avello joined us and discussed it yesterday from DraftKings. That is our poll question. I'll just get it out of the bag now. The awards go tonight in the Canadian Football League. It's the BC Lions quarterback Nathan Rourke, former Patriot, Falcon, Jaguar, against Bo Levi Mitchell of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Who's going to win tonight? The most outstanding player in the Canadian Football League. And 90% of the respondents are saying it's Nathan Rourke, the quarterback of the BC Lions. So that'll be fun to watch tonight. Okay, moving on. Point 2 to the Quick Six Show topics. Week 11 in the NFL is filled with marquee matchups. The Seattle Seahawks and the LA Rams face off for first place in the NFC West. They're both 7-2. The Broncos take on the 9-time defending division champion Kansas City Chiefs, looking to prove the AFC West goes through Denver. The reigning Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles and Detroit Lions meet in prime time in a potential preview of the NFC title game. As far as I'm concerned, that is the game of the week. It'll be running up somewhat concurrently against the Grey Cup. Actually, it'll be kicking off. Well, the Grey Cup will be in the second half. Maybe we can watch both. And in the Thursday nighter tonight, the lid lifter, as some would say, it's an AFC Eastern matchup, New England at New York. And we've had a viewer, Mayday 10, who's watching on YouTube all day. He's been horny about talking about this game tonight. Patriots and Jets, which frankly isn't, I don't think, going to be much of a game. The Jets have won 2 in a row, but they're overmatched tonight, right? Against the streaking Patriots who've won 7 straight. Drake May playing at an MVP level for New England, and the Patriots have won 16 of their last 18 games against New York. But you know what? We're all going to be tuned in, or at least I will be once I get home from the Capitals and the Panthers tonight. But it's some very outstanding games in the National Football League this week in Week 11. And maybe tonight's game will surprise us. But I'm picking the Pats. By the way, the RP Show is brought to you in part by Suds Full-Service Car Wash. Fuel your fleet's finesse with Suds Regina's unbeatable cleaning packages. They'll shine like new every time. Visit sudsregina.com. Point 3 of the Quick Six show topics. Hamilton, Ontario's Shea Gilgeous-Alexander had 30 points and 9 assists in 3 quarters, and the Oklahoma City Thunder rolled past the LA Lakers 121-92. Steph Curry scored 46 points, and the Golden State Warriors beat the San Antonio Spurs 125-120, overcoming a triple-double by Victor Wembanyama. NBA tonight, just 3 games. This show's NBA team, the NBA's Toronto Raptors, are at Cleveland tonight. It's also the Indiana Pacers at Phoenix and the Atlanta Hawks at Utah. I'm hearing again about the NBA Cup, and it's certainly not their fault that I have no idea what the NBA Cup is. I know they've been running it for a couple of years, but I got to get this CFL out of the way and largely really the NFL before I really hunker down on the NBA. I'm just casually keeping my eye on it, but just not really getting excited about the NBA Cup results, which I think will be over by the time I'm paying attention. Anyways, point 4. Paul Skeens has won the National League Cy Young Award in a unanimous vote, becoming the first pitcher in 40 years to win Rookie of the Year one season and a Cy Young Award the next. How about that? 23-year-old righty led the majors with a 1.97 ERA and struck out 216 batters for the Pittsburgh Pirates. The woeful Pittsburgh Pirates, by the way. Somehow, well, they're talking about these guys switching teams. I guess there was interest. Teams are calling Pittsburgh about dealing Paul Skeens, acquiring him, and the Pirates are like, hang up. Having said that, Detroit Tigers ace Tarek Skubal won his second straight American League Cy Young Award. This was all Wednesday night. Skubal posted a 13-6 record with a 2.21 ERA. Skubal is the 12th pitcher in MLB history to capture a Cy Young in back-to-back seasons. And looks like he will be playing for another team next season besides Detroit. So, welcome to Sports in 2025. Just checking in from the audience. Colin is watching in the nation's capital. Alexis Lafreniere, the first overall pick in the 2020 NHL entry draft, isn't even in the top 75 scorers in the league. What is the French word for bust? Oh, that's rude. I would suggest, Colin, that you go and watch the highlights from last night's game in Tampa Bay where the Rangers routed the Lightning 7-3. It was a highlight variety goal from Alexei Lafreniere, so I wouldn't go quite so far as to label him a bust. The oddest thing, are we paying attention to this? The New York Rangers are, I think, 8-1-1 on the road. It's their best road start in franchise history, which is saying something because they're over 100 years old, yet they're off to their worst home start in franchise history. How that? Okay, well, hey, it feels like a little early to dip into the viewer comments, but I'm game. That aforementioned Mayday writes in, Mayday 10, he says, Gronk signs a one-day deal to retire as a Patriot. Thursday night rivalry game, New England Patriots. Rivalry jerseys tonight. Let's go, Pats. I apologize, by the way. I know I read earlier in the show that the game was at New York. I just couldn't read my own writing. Mayday 10. I will say this about Gronk. He has slid right in seamlessly, has he not? If I have the right panel show, he's on Fox now, right? Took the spot previously held by Jimmy Johnson for many, many years. He's doing a great job of it. Carlos in Indianapolis says, can hour 2 top hour 1? I don't know, but we're going to try. We're going to try, Carlos in Indianapolis. Jason Gregor coming up from Sports 1440 Edmonton to talk NHL, because he doesn't get enough of that. Some NFL, and, of course, the Coupe de Grey, because it is the biggest week of the year in Canadian football. So that's 0.5. Man, are we skipping through these topics here on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network across Nevada and Game Plus TV across Canada and 32 U.S. states. 0.5, the Canadian Football League will be having its annual awards tonight, as mentioned earlier, as part of the ongoing Grey Cup festivities. The awards include Top Rookie, Defensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, and, of course, the biggest one, the Most Outstanding Player Award. That is the poll question today, brought to you by EMJ Marketing Elite Speakers Bureau. Who should win the Most Outstanding Player Award in the Canadian Football League tonight? I know a lot of our U.S. viewers will have no idea what that is, but maybe you might want to look it up because these players had great seasons. Hamilton's Bo Levi Mitchell led the league in passing at age, I don't know what he is, 75. And Nathan Rourke of the BC Lions at the age of 28, led him into the playoffs again in a 7-game win streak to end the year. Well, our voters are saying that Nathan Rourke will win this. 90% plus on Twitter, close to 70% on YouTube, voting for Nathan Rourke as the most outstanding player. And by the way, media members invited to attend CFL Commissioner Stuart Johnston's inaugural State of the League media address as part of the 112th Grey Cup week on Friday. He was appointed commissioner in April. Fans are upset at this gentleman, Stu Joe, as he's referred to, the new commissioner, for changing some of the rules on the size of the field. They're saying this will be the last Grey Cup where it's played with a 55-yard line. I'll get into that with Jason Gregor next. The fans aren't going away quietly on this. And every year the commissioner has a State of the League with the fans. That's been canceled this year. The timing doesn't look good, but I'm not willing to say that he's afraid of meeting with the fans. I don't know. Get your questions in for Jason Gregor, Sports 1440 Edmonton. He'll join us next. We are across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. Hey, y'all. And, of course, as always, Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, podcast, and Mission Radio.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Waiting. All right, welcome back, everybody. Yeah, I'm telling you, I'll send him. Please call him. Jason Gregor. We're working on it. Jason Gregor from Sports 1440 Edmonton. He's got the link. That's all I can say. So we'll do what I did the other day when this similar situation happened before. Jump into a sports update. Good news and bad news in the sports update today. Baylor Athletic Director Mack Rhoades has stepped down from his role as chairman of the College Football Playoff Selection Committee and is taking a leave of absence from the school while it investigates allegations against him. This is what I'm saying is the bad news. While not going into additional details, Baylor Vice President Jason Cook said Thursday those allegations against Rhoades do not involve Title X student-athlete welfare or NCAA rules violations and do not involve the football program. Cook said the university takes the allegations seriously and is in the process of conducting a thorough investigation. Mack Rhoades did not respond to a message from the Associated Press, and I think we can see why. I feel like I can hear the guest. Can we see him? What's happening, producer Corey? What are we doing here with Jason Gregor from Sports 1440 Edmonton? Okay, so Jason Gregor, if you can hear us, he says that
I can hear you, RP.
He can hear us. Okay, he can hear us. Are we putting him on? Okay. Sports 1440 Edmonton's Jason Gregor joining us. There we go. Hey, Gregor. Sorry for all that. Good to see you, my friend. How you doing today on this Thursday of Grey Cup week?
everybody. I'm pretty good. Pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing very well. And listen, I'm going to start right with this. The Oilers won in Philadelphia. What was it, 2-1? They turn around and play tonight at Columbus. Is your life dependent on the fortunes of the Edmonton Oilers? Since, as far as I'm concerned, you're the media guy in Edmonton now following this hockey team. And it's just almost exhausting watching the fortunes of this team and what it does to the fan base.
Yeah, well, my life definitely doesn't hinge on it, but definitely my show. There's a lot of interest in the Edmonton Oilers, of course, the NHL in general, but obviously the Jays run was great. CFL, great cup. You know me. I'm a huge CFL guy. I'm a little perturbed. I'm not in Winnipeg. It's the best times at Spirit of Edmonton and Ryderville and other places. Anybody who's watching and listening, if you've never gone, you have to go once in your life. You'll never regret it. But the Oilers, Rod, it's good for sports talk radio when the win one, lose one, because guys are naturally, we like to solve problems. You learn later on in marriage that sometimes it's better to just listen, but in sports that's not the case. In sports, you give your opinion and away you go. And so it's been up and down. Right now, Oiler fans are loving Jack Roslovic because he's been on fire since once he got up to speed, his last 9 games, he's looked really good.
Well, and so he's from Columbus, so it's a return game for him tonight, I understand, at Columbus for Jack Roslovic. How did it come to? He was just a run-of-the-mill free agent signing. Like, he's been around for a while. We know the Winnipeg story and the trade and Line A and all that, but it seems like he's just kind of come into his own finally, big time in Edmonton.
Well, he has scored 22 goals twice. And remember, he scored 22, and a lot of people had him as a fairly sought-after free agent, but then July 1st came and July 2nd and 3rd, and nothing happened. Now, Stan Bowman and the Oilers had expressed interest, but they said, this is all we have for cap space. And so they waited and waited, and Stan Bowman circled back again the start of October, and they got him on a really good value deal, 1 year at $1.5 million. And so, he's in an opportunity here to make some potentially big money. But after what we saw last summer, even if he scores 25 goals, is he really going to make that much money? I'll say this, though, Rod. Like, I knew he was a good skater. I didn't know he was this good. Like, he is being ridiculously smooth as a skater. He almost accelerates when he glides. It's very, like, McDavid his feet are churning all the time, right? It's fast, fast, fast. Well, Roslovic is quick and fast, but in a different way. And him and Leon Draisaitl have got some momentum going, which is what they really needed. Zach Hyman, who I don't think is going to play tonight, but sounds like he'll make his season debut in Carolina on Saturday. But yeah, Roslovic has been everything you want. And the Oilers, their longest losing streak in any road city is, funny enough, Columbus. They haven't won there since 2019. Now, they didn't play 2 years because of COVID, but they've lost their last 4 straight. And Roslovic, when he was on Columbus, beat them for fun with 4 goals. So they're probably happy he's on their side tonight.
Well, it should be a good one. One of 10 games in the NHL tonight. Jason Gregor is with us from Sports 1440 Edmonton. I'm just reintroducing you to our Vegas viewers as we're live on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network now daily. Everybody on Game Plus knows who you are. Everybody's watching across Edmonton here on television right now. But I heard you on the Sunday brunch on Sunday, NHL radio, very eloquently speaking about the Oilers. I enjoy your analysis. And at that time, they got thumped the night before, right? 9-1. With the smoke having cleared from that, was that just a wake-up call? Like, I feel like it was calamitous at the time, but the ship seems to have righted pretty quickly after they beat Columbus, beat Philly. Maybe it was just a wake-up call.
Well, maybe. And to be honest, they did, like, they beat Columbus because they had a great first period. They got a good start, and then they fell asleep in the second period, and they needed a lucky bounce. Columbus had an own goal that was shorthanded for the Oilers, with less than a minute to go to tie that game. Then they won it, Roslovic in overtime. And then last night in Philly, Rod, Philly looked like they scored the game-winning goal in the final minute and called off on an offside review. Now, connecting was clearly offside, right? I'm like, do you not know how to drag your feet? But still, then they score again in overtime, and it's Roslovic, back-to-back games in OT. So the Oilers game still isn't where they want it to be, but they've got a little luck the last few games, and that always plays part in success, and that'll give you some confidence. They're going to get Hyman back Saturday against Carolina, so that's obviously going to help. But, Leon Draisaitl's game isn't where he wants it to be. Connor McDavid, to be honest, up until the Monday game in Columbus, he hadn't had a dominant game all year, and then he dominated Columbus. So when your best players start to show up, guess what? Your chances of winning increase significantly. I'm not worried about Edmonton at all. They're they're going to be fine, but they needed their top guys to get going. Their top D pair hasn't been great this year at all. So they start to get those guys going. You get Hyman back, and then suddenly I think the team will naturally look better.
I know you talk enough Oilers, so I want to ask you a few other questions. And while there are questions from the viewers, of course, they're Oiler related, and I can ask you those at the end. But on my Panthers show I was doing yesterday, the fans were saying that the NHL is in the greatest shape ever. You see the ads now about the golden era is now. Bedard, Celebrini, all these guys. We've had a lot of great golden eras in the NHL, but can you talk about the state of the league and its talent level? And you see the stats, 78% of games are 1 goal or 2 goals with an empty netter. That's nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, the games have been very competitive. The only people who don't like it are those who are probably gambling on the games because it's hard to pick winners. But and that's a whole story. At least none of the players are getting suspended for throwing games. Or at least not yet, and hopefully never. But the NHL, you're seeing it. It's interesting, Rod. You kind of got 3 generations. You still got Crosby and Malkin, who are 38 and 39, playing great. Then you've got McKinnon and McDavid, guys, late 20s, just turned 30 for McKinnon, Draisaitl, they're still great. But then you've got Bedard, and you've got Celebrini, and you've got Cutter Gauthier in Anaheim. Obviously, Leo Carlson, even better. And those guys are all, like the 3 of those guys are 20 and under. So that's what you need. You need your young guys to come along. I think those teams have all been a surprise. Anaheim, a lot of people thought maybe they would pop a bit this year, and they have. San Jose and Chicago, I don't think anybody thought they would be as good as they are now, so good for them. But I think reality is going to slowly come in for those teams. They'll be competitive, but they're not going to be playoff teams in my eyes. Anaheim has the best chance to do that. And you do need your young stars to come up and contribute, right? Like you look, Connor McDavid, second year, had a 100-point season, won the scoring title, won the MVP. Now, but it took the Oilers a few years till they won, right? So there's different phases of it. So it's good to see these teams with their star players coming out and getting a lot of excitement in Chicago and San Jose and Anaheim and markets that were really good in the early salary cap era, Rod. But obviously, like anything, it's cyclical, and then they're bad. So it's cycling now. Unfortunately, Buffalo's still in the cycle of losing, and I don't know if they'll ever get out of it, Rod. Like, God, but them and the New York Jets. Like, I don't know who's a worse run organization right now. But so I think the NHL is in great shape. I will say this though. I know the salary cap's going up significantly. I'll be curious. I think we're going to see in a few years, Rod, that you're going to see the gap between teams spending to the cap and teams that are closer to the floor. And that gap is going to stretch here. Not every team is going to suddenly be a $104 million cap team or a $113 million cap team in 2 years. And that could cause a little bit of separation. We might be in the last year or two of lots of competitiveness. I haven't seen the league this competitive, but down the road, I think we might see a little bit of a gap from some of these teams just because of salary cap, because a lot of the teams aren't making enough money to spend all that money.
Jason Gregor with us from Sports 1440 Edmonton. I got to say this. It has been a fun year, but with Utah, didn't see that coming. And the hockey people here are saying, well, they got stable ownership, which, let's be honest, they never really had for 30 years in Arizona. Is Utah for real? And does the ownership make that big of a difference?
Well, it definitely makes a difference. I talked to their GM, and Bill told me how he goes, to be honest, our team, and it goes, this sounds dumb, but we weren't even used to having fans. Like last year in Utah, their fans, the building was loud. The players were like so excited that they were overworking, and I know that people think, oh, you can't work too hard. You can, because you end up trying to do too much, and then you're out of position, and then boom, you're getting killed. So this year, I think they're playing better. They got a lot of good young talent on that team. And hey, I give them credit. Look at the trades they made. Paterka. You look at bringing in Sergachev. Like, they made some good moves. They've drafted very well. Logan Cooley's a really good young player. Dylan Gunther's a really good young player. So they've got pieces. Are they, like, they started off great, then they lost 4 in a row, and now they did get the win last night, a team that they should have beaten. They did. So I think Utah is definitely a team that's going to be competing for the wild card, Rod. No question. Right now, St. Louis and Minnesota, both those teams are struggling, and Utah has taken their spot.
Jason Gregor with us from Sports 1440 Edmonton. Ryan in upstate New York writes in. He says, I'm a New York Jets fan, Mr. Gregor. How long do you have for me to tell you how bad they are? Run. LOL. That's from Ryan in upstate New York. Listen, you did pop the top on a topic that I didn't expect to go down the road, but I respect your opinion on all things sports related but off field, and that's the gambling issue with the players. You got the 2 Cleveland Guardians in trouble on the heels of Chauncey Billups and Rozier. Like, what is your take on where this gambling problem is? It seemed to have risen up so fast, and I don't know if they have a handle on it as leagues. What do you think, and where it came from?
Well, the Cleveland one to me is mind-blowing, Rod. You have guys who are making $6 million a year, and they're gonna throw a pitch into the ground to get. Now, is it easy money to throw a ball? Obviously, you made $5,000, or I think they made a total of 12,000 each. But you're making $6 million. Like, what the bleep are you thinking? Like, my God, like. You common sense isn't as common as we think, and so you see now a lot of the betting websites are the ones that are changing some things because they've already changed the max bet you can have on an individual pitch now, right? So they're realizing there that, hey, guess what? You can't. Human beings, 99% will be good. All it takes is 1% to make a dumb decision, and so a lot of people now, and I'm not one. I don't like to put everybody in one boat, right? If a few idiot Cleveland pitchers decided to, doesn't mean that every pitcher is doing this now. And when a guy throws a ball in the dirt, it isn't because someone's offered him $3,000 or $5,000, right? Like, I don't believe that. Sometimes they just make a bad pitch, but it opens up people to question it. And so I do think they have to monitor it, no question. If they're partners and bettings in these leagues are partners, then get together and say, okay, what are things we don't want? Where are the areas that can, they can nibble on the edges and make people money and have guys lose their credibility. But I would say this, like, I would come down hard. Now, these guys might get like a 40 years in prison, which seems kind of stupid about throwing a pitch in the ground when you got they want to release the freaking Epstein files on raping on young kids. But hey, let's throw someone in jail for 40 years because they threw a ball in the ground. So I do think our priorities might be a little messed up.
That's why I asked, and I don't think you expected to go down this road either. But me being in the addiction recovery world, and thank God I never did gamble, I didn't, and still don't. But I think it's a little heavy-handed myself. But my sponsor Bob says, Rod, they have to. It has to be a one strike and you're out rule because I'm the king of second, third, fourth chances.
Yeah. Well, and see, I guess, Rod, in your case, like, and I've always respected you because you've talked openly about your recovery, and you were really hurting yourself. Obviously, your loved ones had to deal with it too, but your substance abuse wasn't causing others to lose their money. So maybe I see your point of view, and I agree with you because most people, it's funny. Because as people said about, hey, the Oilers was rock bottom against Colorado, and I'm like, you know what? It's funny. One of my friends is a recovering alcoholic. You know what he told me? He goes, dude. You know how many times people told me, oh, this is rock bottom? He's like, oh, no, trust me, it can go worse. Until you decide to stop, rock bottom can always keep getting lower when you're in addiction, and just like a hockey team. So I do think the leagues have to be very cognizant of it. And you can't be naive to think, because I do know this in the NHL. Like when the steroid era came about, there was, oh, no, NHL doesn't require steroids. I'm like, are you on glue? What does everybody talk about in hockey? Get bigger, stronger, faster. That's the whole goal of steroids. That's why you did it. And then you talk to a lot of guys, and now there's a lot of fighters who are on steroids. And the other fighter said, man, I could tell the guy because I fought him last year and I did okay. Then the next year I fought the guy and I couldn't even move him, right? Like I'd go to grab him and there was nothing. And I'm looking through his eyes and it's like the guy's roided out. So the NHL cannot be naive enough to think, well, our good hockey playing boys, they would never, take some side money to miss the net or whatever. Of course they would. So you have to at least be cognizant of it's there and educate them on why you don't want to do it. Because if you're caught, you're going to get punished. And the punishment has to be severe from the league, right? No question.
Well, like I say, young men do dumb things. I know because I was one. So I think don't bet, guys. Don't even do it. Don't go down that road is kind of the moral of the story. Lastly, CFL, you said how much you love it, as do I. Your thoughts on the 112th Grey Cup Sunday?
Well, it should be a great game, man. Like I'll say this, if Davis Alexander's healthy and he's playing, I'm picking the Owls. They've never lost with him as a starter, Rod. They're 13-0. 13-0 as a starter. Like, Jason Moss, it's funny, Edmonton fans, some of them, he's not a good coach. He'll never be a good coach. Now, did he need to calm down a bit? 100%. But he knows the game. He's a great leader. Players love playing for him. And they got a really good team. So do the Riders. And, the Riders' blessing is that they've been decimated by injuries at receiver, but they just keep bringing out new ones, and they're all still really good. So I think it's going to be a good game. But if Davis Alexander's healthy and, he's going through the rundown, they watched him yesterday. I know today's Thursday, so it's always a close practice, and that's fine. But I think he's going to play. And as long as he doesn't get hurt in the game, I will take the Als because they've yet to lose with him as their starter.
Pretty good stat, isn't it? History is the best predictor of the future, of course. And I did have a football guy call me from the States today and say, do not put any stock in his injury because he'll be shot up. He won't even feel it. We got 90 seconds. Edmonton 7 wins. Is that an overachievement? Because it is to me. How are you on the Elks season?
I thought they took big strides. And I thought I picked them to win 7 games at the start of the year. So I guess I'll say it. That's kind of what I thought they were. They started terribly. They came on better. There's areas they need to improve, Rod. I think they need a little bit more speed in the receiving core. They got to improve their O-line and their D-line, no question. Their big free agents didn't work out. But the positive is their secondary's got a lot of good young ballers back there, and they really learned a lot about the league. Their linebacking core is very deep. So I think the Elks next year will actually compete for a playoff spot for the first time in a long, long time.
I think so. You like Cody?
Well, yeah, I think you got to bring him back. Because, Trey Ford, they didn't even play him in the final game, Rod. And to me, that's a sign that they don't think he's part of the future here. So if you don't bring in Cody, then who are you going to bring in, right? Like it's not like there's a laundry list of guys, even guys with some experience. So I would bring Cody Fajardo back, but I think they're going to bring in a number 2 who can push him, or at least somebody with some experience, because he's a year-by-year type of guy, right? Like he's talked about retirement already. So I don't think he's someone you can build and say, hey, we got Cody for 3 years. I don't think that's the case.
Nevada Wolfpack great, Cody Fajardo. Jason, you brought the fire. I appreciate it. Enjoy the Oilers game tonight and keep in touch, my friend. Keep up the great work.
Rod, great talking to you, buddy. Have a good one.
Jason Gregor, Sports 1440 Edmonton. We will be back in a moment with a sports update and viewer takeover the rest of the way. We're live across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
The RP show continues, and as we tell you every day, we're brought to you in part by CoolBet.com. Claim your welcome bet bonus up to $200 with the promo code RP200 at CoolBet.com. It's free money. Canadian viewers only. Sorry. So I don't know how, and I guess it's on me that I don't remember this prior to the Jason Gregor interview from Sports 1440 Edmonton, and thank you, Jason. That was awesome. There was a debate here, I guess, about New York Rangers forward Alexis Lafreniere. So, it was Colin in Ottawa wrote in and said that Alexis Lafreniere, the star of the New York Rangers, is a bust, and I said, no, he's not. Did you see the goal that he scored last night? Kirk writes in from Toronto and says, hey, Rod, sorry, but Alexis Lafreniere is a bust. 5 years in the league and on a good team and never tops in scoring. Even some hockey pucks on TSN say he's a bust. He never gets mentioned. Oh, they said it on TSN. It must be true. I did a quick search. 398 games, all with the New York Rangers, drafted number 1 overall in 2020. 205 points. So that works out to roughly 0.5 points per game. Very sturdy NHL career for a number 1 overall pick. Probably not. So if you guys want to call him a bust, go ahead if it makes you feel better. How about that? Back to the sports update as I was getting into earlier. Former NFL star Antonio Brown has been released from a Miami jail a day after pleading not guilty to second-degree attempted murder. The 37-year-old AB is accused of firing shots after a celebrity boxing match in Miami on May 16th. Brown left the Turner Guilford Knight Correctional Center with his attorney, Mark Eiglarsh, after a judge set his bail at $25,000 and ordered him to wear some ankle jewelry. As Tony Dungy said about AB, he thinks he's funny. It's not funny. Ole Miss coach Lane Kiffin is Florida's presumed top target in its search to replace fired coach Billy Napier. It creates an intriguing dynamic when the 6th-ranked Rebels host the Reeling Gators on Saturday. Florida Athletic Director Scott Strickland has remained quiet in the 3 weeks since he fired Napier, but there's a growing belief inside the program that Kiffin is at least considering a return to the Sunshine State, and really, who wouldn't? It's been the topic in Oxford and Gainesville this week, and is a subplot to the matchup that includes college football playoff implications. Meanwhile, the Tampa Bay Rays will return to an updated Tropicana field for the 2026 season. The team played their entire 2025 home schedule at George Steinbrenner Field in Tampa, the spring training site of the Yankees, while damage to the Trop caused by Hurricane Milton was repaired. That happened back in October of 2024. The team announced several new ticket options for next season that go on sale to the public today, as well as ballpark upgrades. The team has new owners who are beginning a search for a new permanent ballpark to open in 2029. That is your sports update, proudly presented by our friends at Ultimate Fan Zone Moose Jaw. Get your game day gear in-store or online at ultimatefanzone.ca. Overtime's coming up. Get your questions and comments in 902-518-3033. It is the most wonderful time of the year for the CFL fans and Canadian football fans. The Grey Cup will be played on Sunday, the 112th Grey Cup. Johnny Avello talked about it yesterday. He says a lot of money's bet at DraftKings Sportsbook. through on the Canadian Football League. It was great to have Johnny on from Vegas. And it was, if you just tuned in, weren't watching earlier, I was pretty tickled last night to get a text from my good friend Ray Olgard, a Las Vegas resident, Canadian Football Hall of Famer, tight end, with his picture of his TV in Vegas in his home. What are you doing in my living room? Yeah, we're on the air in Nevada every day. I told you that. And he was a star of the 1989 Grey Cup. You don't even need to be a Saskatchewan fan to say that that was the greatest Grey Cup ever played. So, anyways, we'll talk about that and more when we come back in overtime. Whatever you would like, 902-518-3033. I broadcast 4 Grey Cups on national radio across Canada. I was telling some stories last hour, and Wayne writes in from Victoria. He says, hey, Rod, you're reminiscing. Has me thinking I'll have to go back and read Green Magic again. By the way, great book, Rod. Thank you, Wayne. That was my best-selling book called Green Magic, Canada's Team Wins the 2007 Grey Cup. Yeah, there was a lot of errors in that book. You learn as you go. Grammatical errors, but it is what it is. Thank you, Wayne, for reading. It was a very fun, warm, fuzzy time, just like this show every day. And we'll be right back with overtime after this on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. Welcome back for Overtime, everybody. Proudly brought to you by Overtime Hockey Lanes. And there is a hockey game in Calgary, Alberta, Canada tonight. The Flames are home to the San Jose Sharks. Why don't you go check out Overtime Hockey Lanes before the game or this weekend? It's got that license bar for the adults. If you're looking for the perfect place to perfect your shot, look no further than Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, 28th Street Northeast. State-of-the-art shooting lanes, top-notch equipment. It is RP Show approved. From the audience, quite a few here. Yes, I see that. Jeff in the zone says, hey, Rod, Colorado locked their goalie, new deal. I just saw that. Had an email in the break from the Colorado Avalanche. They have re-signed Scott Wedgwood. Thank you, Jeff, for writing in with that. Colin in Ottawa writes in, he says, it is so disheartening that the Patriots are on top of the AFC just 6 seasons after Tom Brady leaves Foxborough. Ownership matters. Ownership matters. You guys know that, right? I said earlier, Ray Elgard, starring in the greatest Grey Cup game ever played, the 1989 Grey Cup. John Ohm says the 1989 and 2013 greatest Grey Cup games ever, says the Rider fan. I get it, but I can at least say the two are 89, 43-40, Saskatchewan winning. The hazy days from back when I was just a fan, just a couple of years before I started working in the league. And the 2005 Grey Cup that went to overtime. Oh, my heart just skipped it. I didn't care who won. Edmonton versus Montreal in Vancouver at BC Place. J'étais là. I was there. That was fun. Jeff, the Stamps fan who can't see outside of his own cone, but that's fine, says the 1948, 71, 82, 98, 01, 14, 18 are the greatest Grey Cups ever. He lives in the bubble, and he's happy in the bubble. Troy in Toronto writes in. He says, Antonio Brown's got to be suffering from mental health issues. How else do you explain such irrational behavior? He needs an intervention. His life is definitely unmanageable. Is he addicted to chaos? Clearly. I'm not diagnosing him. I'm not qualified to do that. All I would say is it's sad. As Tony Dungy said, he thinks he's funny. He's not funny. Let's do the picks for the NHL tonight. If we have time, 10 games. Washington and Florida. I'll take the Cats back after a 4-game road trip. Panthers over the Caps tonight. Leafs, Kings, a rematch of the 1993 Western Conference Final. I think the Leafs will win at home tonight. They have to. Anaheim at Detroit. I'll take the Ducks. They just got spanked at Colorado. They'll be looking for atonement. The Dallas Stars at the Montreal Canadiens. Habs got spanked at home. They'll rebound with a win tonight. Boston Bruins at the Ottawa Senators. Sorry, Colin, I got to go with the Bruins. They are on some kind of historic heater right now, looking for their 8th win in a row. Oilers at Columbus. I'm thinking Blue Jackets tonight. Buffalo Sabres at the Colorado Avalanche. That's an easy Avs dub. San Jose at Calgary. Sorry, Flames. I'm out. New York Islanders at Vegas. Definitely a Golden Knights win. They will not lose for a 4th consecutive time. And the Winnipeg Jets at the Seattle Kraken. Sneaky good game of the night, I would say. I'll take the Jets to win tonight at Climate Pledge Arena. Oh, man. If we had more time, one day I'll tell you, probably the wildest night I ever had calling a game was in Climate Pledge Arena, formerly the Seattle Key Arena. The fans were pelting our team with nacho containers and beers, and fans in Seattle reached over our bench and dumped beer on our coach's head, Rich Preston. He said, Torchy, our equipment manager, give me a stick. Torch gave him a stick. Rico started climbing the glass. They had to pull him down. And our goalie, Andy Adams, was at the top of the circles like this, waving the fans on with his blocker and his, I'll never forget, swatting nachos out of the air. Oh, my God, it was wild that night in Seattle. They get crazy in Seattle, the hockey fans there. Colin in Ottawa. Says, I agreed that ownership matters, Roddy, and the New York Jets have one of the worst in pro sports. Woody Johnson. Yeah. Again, not enough time to go down the road of all these stories. What can I tell you? You were saying that it's disheartening to see the Patriots back on top again. We shouldn't be surprised. Ownership wins. There's a million reasons as to why some teams win always and some teams always lose. I love this story. Well, in Vegas, Bill Foley just said we're going to win. He manifested it. We'll win a Stanley Cup within 6 years. But you don't just say it. Everybody thinks he just said it. Treats his people well, gives them the resources to get the job done, and hired the right people. Here in Florida, the owner, Vincent Viola, got tired of losing, got tired of an empty rink, called in his key people and said, what do I need to do to win? They said, open your wallet, spend on players. And they did. And boom, look what we have. 3 straight trips to the Stanley Cup. Mountain Tate writes in, he says, listening to you rant about the CFL changing the logo halfway through Grey Cup week in Winnipeg is probably still my favorite sports radio moment. Well, it started the road of getting me fired from writing for CFL.ca, which in the end, I don't really care. That's a story for another time. But how do you just arbitrarily not tell anybody it's coming, pardon me, on the Friday morning of Grey Cup week, change the logo? You didn't even tell your staff. They had the old logo painted on the field at Grey Cup, and they had to go out and take off the old logo and put on the new logo for the damn game. The refs didn't have toques that matched the new logo that it was announced 2 days before the game. Oh, I know. My God. The producer Corey just goes, it sounds like the CFL. I'm like, the more things change, the more they stay the same, and I just can't. Just enjoy the games. That's about it. That's why we do what we do and they do what they do, and it all works out. Thanks to Jason Gregor. Thanks to the crew. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. We'll see you all tomorrow for a Football Friday, Silver State Sports Entertainment Network and Game Plus.
That